Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Nigga, the thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Got our first guy in. We'll bring him in a little later. But we definitely here live. Let me see. All right. So that being said, we got something a little different for you here tonight. We got now let me go ahead and do this. All right. So hello, good people. Got a little something different for you tonight. I got some guys I invited. We got one here so far. And so what we'll do is, and this is a little rundown. We're going to start with, I have one set of questions from subs, and I'll let my guests kind of help me answer those 3 questions that I have. And then if other guys come in, we'll introduce them in. And I got 5 questions that I presented to these guys earlier. And, we'll basically answer those questions and anything out of the chat box. So without further ado, my first guest, and may have more guests coming in, add them to the stream. Sudden Death, what's good?
What's up, Coach? How you doing, man?
Good. How about yourself? I appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Yes, I appreciate you having me on.
Until anybody else comes in, man, you're gonna kind of run it, and I'll start with. I got one email with some questions, and then we'll get into those questions I kind of talked to you guys about earlier today. All right.
Cool.
So before we get started, let everybody know what you got going on in your social media and your YouTube endeavors and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. So you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube at Sutton Def. I know it's tagged on there at the bottom there at Sutton Def. You can also follow my clothing line, my own personal clothing line, which I am wearing right now. It is Oler Clothing, overlooked, underrated clothing. For all my guys out there who felt like their potential has been untapped, they have things that they want to be able to accomplish, but nobody's really giving them that recognition. Keep working, keep grinding. That's what this is all about. It's olerclothing.com, OLUR clothing.com. That's pretty much where you can find me now.
And then the process of us doing this, once you make sure you put that in the chat box, so that they don't have no excuse. I couldn't find it. What he say? What?
I got you.
Put it in the chat box, and they'll have no excuse to get out there and support. And that's a good thing about our Ravens fans. They do a good job of supporting.
Yeah.
And I've been overwhelmed by the amount of support I got. Just on this is what year? Right at 2 years for me. I've done 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically the beginning of the 3rd season. And I see some eyes in my chat box. I need to see this little square box pop up with them same set of eyes.
Yeah, Graven. What's up, J. Will, Bruno? What's up, y'all?
We have a good amount of faithful guys coming in, but let's start with these questions. And while these other guys get their stuff together and whatnot, and come to the chat box, I know they'll pop in and out. But with me and you, let's go. And this first set of questions from Bruno. He says, who do you think will have the greatest impact as rookies, and who will have red shirt years? And so I'll let you go first on that one. Who do you think will have the greatest impact as a rookie?
Greatest impact as a rookie this year, I'm probably going to have to go with Patrick Queen. And Patrick Queen, I know you also have a question about, our favorite draft picks and stuff like that. But Patrick Queen, since he was our 1st round pick, I do think that he is going to get the majority of the snaps on defense as opposed to anybody else on the team, not only on defense, but on offense as well. We're pretty much putting him into that starting role just right off the bat. So I feel like he's going to have the most opportunities. So I feel like he's going to have the biggest impact. So I'm going to have to go with Patrick Queen.
And my answer to that is J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
I think J.K. Dobbins is going to come in and be the number 2 or maybe even 3 back. I just think he's so talented. He's probably going to be faster than all those guys except for Justice.
Right.
And probably going to run just as hard as Mark and
Gus.
So he's going to be a mixture of that. And what he does is one thing that I think only Justice could do. Hit the home run on any play.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm almost for certain he's going to get snaps because he could take an inside zone if a linebacker miss, he could be gone. Whereas Mark Mark can score too, but they're Justice and Dobbins are a different kind of fast than Mark. And Mark's a little older, so you got to kind of take that into consideration. But I think J.K. is going to have a not an immediate impact, but the biggest impact because we still got veteran linebackers there. And so we know one of them going to start, Queen or Harrison. And if Queen starts, it'll probably be Fort starting at Mike. But then if for some strange reason Harrison starts, Queen will definitely get that roam roll, that roll where he can go sideline to sideline. That off, not the Mike, but like the Sam of the wheel.
Right.
All right, and he also says who would have redshirt years, and I answer that one first. The redshirt years for me is probably going to be Tyree Phillips.
Tyree Phillips.
Mm-hmm. Because we got the say again.
Not Bredesen.
I mean, it could be either one. I'm just picking one. One. I go with Tyree because Bredesen at least gonna have an opportunity to fight for a position because he's an interior O lineman. But Tyree is a tackle, and I don't know if they're gonna bump him in. Somebody said to me earlier that they plan on bumping him in, but I haven't seen it yet. But if let's just say for conversation's sake, he's gonna be a tackle.
Right.
He's not gonna supplant Orlando or Stanley unless it's an injury.
Yeah,
so that's why I think he's gonna have that red shirt year.
I was definitely thinking Ben Bredesen as opposed to Tyree Phillips, only because we did get Tyree Phillips in the 3rd round and Bredesen in the 4th. So I feel like the people that we spent those higher first 3-round draft picks on, we're gonna try to get them out there, at least try to get them comfortable in our system. So we at least know where we stand with like our first couple round guys.
Right. And with him being a 3rd round pick, I think the only way he can even have a chance is if they bump him in there and let him battle with, for the guard position.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I think he can, because our tackles are set, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I honestly think our left guard, I think he did a good enough job to have his position set too.
Bozeman.
Yes, Bozeman. Yeah. He really impressed me last year, and where I thought that was going to be our weak spot because of what had happened the year before against the Chargers and other teams. Bozeman really stepped up and did a good job, especially pulling too.
Yeah,
and I may be cursing Raven service for this, but I think he was a better puller than Yonder.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that. Yonder was just so consistent, and that's something that we're definitely going to miss in him retiring. We're just trying desperately right now. That's why we're drafting all these like big guys, like big behemoths, putting them on our offensive line, trying to find somebody who can replace Marshall Yonder. But it's going to take time. And I think we'll definitely be able to get there, though.
The good thing is Fluker,
yeah.
Fluker's going to help. Fluker's going to help.
Definitely.
Let's see. Second question, still from Bruno. How can the kid Bronson Ricksteiner make the team? He says, I really like this kid, as we all should. He's a monster and could help us more than Pat Ricard. I think eventually. His explosiveness, speed, and pass catching ability are greater than Ricard. I think the kid should make the team, but how is that possible? What does he have to do to make the 53? So first off, I think we have expanded rosters this year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, we do.
And is it somebody put in my chat box when I asked this last week? It's 55. Is that correct? Is it only 2 spaces?
I think it's either 55 or 57. It's one of those. Yeah.
Well, if let's say it's 57, that's the spot for him right there because I think he could be fullback, tight end, and then Ricard could still be fullback, defensive tackle. Yeah. But what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that works out for us as well. I mean, we have like Patrick Ricard's spot on the defense is the same spot as Calais Campbell, essentially, if you look out on the depth chart. Mm-hmm. So we could use a guy that could kind of replace his role and doing the things that he does. So, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Now, I was thinking Ricard may be cut for Bronson, but I saw something later that made me think about it. During Patrick Ricard went to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a lot of big plays for us in a lot of different positions this past season. So I don't want to see him. I don't want to see his production cut at all. If as much as possible, I want to see him on the field making plays like he was last year.
all I can see is if we don't want to keep two guys that are similar in skill set, that we flip him like we flipped Verdvik.
Oh, Kari Vedvik, yeah.
Yes, I would see that because he. Have you seen his highlights?
I actually haven't. I haven't yet.
So he was the only UDFA I gave a video to by himself, and I basically did a reaction video to his highlights.
Mm-hmm.
He's strong as heck.
Yeah,
he's faster than you think because a lot of rocked up, extremely buff jokers can't really move and flexible. They don't have that twitch like a fast guy do, and he would take the dive action. They run double wing most of the time, and would score off the dive. Then when they went traditional set, they put him beside the QB like a shotgun. Then they take him and throw him the ball, and then he was destroying people on blocks. Yeah. And granted, it was against lesser competition. Blocking is more about effort than anything,
right? And
so that blocking would translate to the NFL because if you got your hands stuff in the right spot, and granted, some people may be more athletic and a little bit stronger, you don't have to block for long.
And I think that the thing that I love about our franchise, our organization, and how we pick up players is that we get guys who excel in multiple things, who can do multiple things. It's kind of like having any old job, right? You may be hired for one specific thing, but your manager is looking for you to be able to do multiple different things, handle different tasks and things like that. And that's the type of guys we get on our team. If you look at a guy like, even in the most basic terms, Lamar Jackson, who can, he can throw the football, he can run the football, he's mobile, that sort of thing. You've got, tight ends like Mark Andrews, who can catch the ball, he can block, he's a big body, multiple things that they can do. So I definitely think that, and I forgot who we were even talking about at first.
Rick Steiner.
Yeah. A guy like that who you say, he does excel at multiple different things. That's a guy that I'm, all for.
Mm-hmm. But when you get a chance, check it out. I promise you, without giving it away, and this is I'm gonna go through the reason why I gave him his own video.
Yeah.
People had been like saying, do a video on Rick, and me, I was like, man, don't really tell me what you want me to do. Right. When I get to it, I'll get to it. But I didn't say that, so I was just thinking that. But I just kept getting it. So let me see what this kid's about. So obviously I couldn't find game tape, so I went and looked up his highlight tape.
Yeah.
I watched the very first play, and my jaw almost dropped, and so I stopped it. I said, if I'm gonna have this kind of reaction off one play, it's probably best that I do it live.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to come up and do it like a reaction. I didn't know if it was gonna be striked off or what, but so far I hadn't been striked off. But and I kind of cut out a lot of stuff that was in it too that probably would be there. And just seeing him, I was like, man, how did this dude even? First of all, how did all the other teams that consider themselves runners of the football let him not be drafted? Then how did we find him to put him? Because I think he would fit so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we didn't have Ricard, him making a team would be a no-brainer to me.
So let me ask you this: I know you've looked at tape on him. What do you think are his weaknesses, if he has any?
For the position, let's just say he's going to be a straight fullback,
right?
And his weaknesses as a fullback, I haven't seen, other than playing at a lower level of competition. So I don't know how he'd stack up versus guys that are just as strong, just as skilled as him. But as for if he was a straight fullback, I haven't seen a weakness. But I haven't seen full games either. I saw highlights.
Okay.
Everybody highlights is pretty much accentuates the positive of them completely. So I hadn't seen full games of him, a full game of it.
But did it more so, I guess what I'm asking, like, did it more so look like he was out there manhandling guys, like he was just bigger, stronger, faster than everybody else on the field, or was it more so technique?
He was bigger. He was bigger and stronger, definitely stronger. He wasn't faster than everybody because, again, we're talking a fullback type deal. But he did run away from people. Like the opening play is like a 60-yard run on a dive.
Yeah.
And so, when people got behind him, they rarely caught him. But when I look at kids from a smaller school, they have to pop out. They got to obviously be like the best player out there. And he was there.
Okay.
You could, in my eyes, I could see in that highlight tape where people were making business decisions to halfway kind of tackle him. So
Like
kind of
Derrick
like getting out. And somebody compared him to Allstott. You remember Mike
Oh,
Allstott?
Mike Allstott, absolutely. Yeah.
He's in that mold. I don't think he's as big as Allstott yet, but you know how Allstott catch ball in the backfield and do other stuff.
Oh yeah.
He's in that mode. He's in that mode, and
I'm
that's high praise for UDFA. But that's what I saw, and I see why other people were like, "Hey, coach, you know, what you think about him and whatnot." So I was impressed.
That's Steiner.
Rick Steiner.
Rick
And
Steiner.
his uncle or his dad, or maybe even both, were wrestlers.
Okay.
Scott and Rick, and I don't know which one they used to call Big Papa Pump, but that's when I was watching wrestling. I hadn't watched wrestling since The Rock left, because The Rock was my favorite wrestler.
Oh yeah.
The jabronis. Now let's get to the questions I sent you guys. So it looks like it's just gonna be me and you, since we're entertainment for Ing Raven. The other guys probably working, and I know Sonny had a situation. And but let's get into these questions.
Okay.
Let me get my banner going. There we go. UDFAs. Now let me get back to it myself. All right. First question is: have you had a chance to look at UDFAs? And if so, who is the favorite to make the team?
Yeah, I did get a chance to look at some of the UDFAs that we had gotten. Three that stood out to me the most is of course the quarterback Tyler Huntley.
Mm-hmm.
Also the tight end out of Georgia, Eli Wolf. Yeah, mm-hmm. Eli Wolf. And then also there was an offensive lineman. I can't remember his name. It was like Tristan something. He had like two last names. Can't remember.
Castillo Cologne or Cologne Castillo, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that out of all of those guys, I would probably say either Tyler Huntley or Eli Wolf. And my reason for that is that Tyler Huntley is a guy who, if you go and look at like his tape or even just like his highlights, he's a big play kind of guy. He can push the ball downfield. He's mobile. He reminds me of like a Deshaun Watson type of quarterback almost, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he would fit well in an offense behind Lamar Jackson. I think that we're going to be getting ready to move away from the RG3. We're going to probably, release him sooner than later. So I think that Tyler Huntley, either him or Eli Wolf. Eli Wolf was a guy who he didn't play the previous season in college, but he went to Georgia. And it really just looked like to me that he was a good, strong-handed guy. Catching traffic. Also, he has potential as a blocker as well. So I can see him possibly getting a spot on our roster too. And those are my guys.
All right, the two guys I had to answer this were obviously Bronson Rick Steiner, because of all the different reasons we just spoke of. So I'm not going to go back into it. The other guy is Chauncey Rivers. And the reason I say Chauncey Rivers is because he plays a position that we didn't draft in. That was edge.
Yeah,
Chauncey Rivers started off at Georgia.
Right.
I think he got dismissed from Georgia and ended up at East Mississippi and was one of the stars of the first or second season of Last Chance U.
Oh.
And so Tyree Phillips was at East Mississippi too during the same time. But then he came to Mississippi State, and Mississippi State, when he first got there, were loaded with defensive guys. They had Jeffrey Simmons. They had the safety that got drafted by the Raiders last year. They had the cornerback that got drafted this year. They had a linebacker too, Errol Thompson. They just had a ton of good defensive guys, and he got into that rotation. So this year he was able to play a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, he didn't have a ton of numbers.
Right.
When I looked at his tape, he has 4 or 5 star potential, because he was that type of recruit coming out of high school too. And he just happened to play a position that we didn't draft, so that makes it better for him also, because you're looking at what Judon, Bowser, and Ferguson as the only edge guys we have right now.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So if on strictly off numbers, he might be in there.
Oh, you mean you're looking at also let's see. I forgot we got Derek Wolf too as well.
Yeah, but Wolf's more of an interior guy though.
Yeah. So we're really only looking at Judon, and behind him is Jihad Ward. So
and they slide Ward in a lot too. So I think those inside guys are going to be those 2 inside guys we normally play. It'll be a combination of Campbell, Ward, Wolf, Big Brandon.
Yeah.
And one more. Who was 93 for us? I can't think his name. Uh, crap.
Let's see.
I know when I play Madden, sometimes they have him on the edge. I think he's number 93. Can't think his name at the time.
Yeah.
And during draft season, all these names just go in my head, and sometimes they just don't come out. Because during the regular season, I can focus on Raven names, but during draft season, Wormley. That's who it is. Wormley. Appreciate it.
Oh, Chris Wormley. Yeah.
Wormley. So I think Chauncey has a chance to make it just off numbers because Wormley could play edge and kind of go inside, and like you said, Ward could do the same thing. But he does have youth. He does have. He plays with his hands too. That's a good thing I like about him.
Yeah.
He'll just sit there and let guys like once they try to block him, he'll just sit there and be blocked. He does attempt to get off, and sometimes it don't work. Sometimes it don't work.
And even like they my bad.
No, you go ahead.
Like they said in the chat, Chris Wormley is actually a Steeler now. We got rid of him. Wormley's gone. So definitely we're gonna have to have somebody else get into that spot, and possibly Rivers,
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see that happening.
And I'm big on SEC guys too. I just think they're week in, week out, they play a better brand of football, and no shade to Big 12, Pac-12, or whatnot, but I just think they have the best of the best in all categories. Like I think if you're a running team, if you defend the run or you run the ball, you play in the SEC or the Big 10. If you're a skill finesse type deal, you play in ACC, Big 12, Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then you'll get some physical guys out of those different conferences, but for the most part, the brand of football kind of hits the different areas, other than the SEC, because you get everything in the SEC.
Right.
Second question. It says, what realistic free agents out there can come in and help the Baltimore Ravens? And the reason I put the word realistic in there is because of salary cap issues.
Okay.
So if we stick at the same number we have, and Judon is still on the team, a certain edge guy is not realistic because we don't have the money.
Yeah, and I was looking at our depth chart here. A guy that I was thinking maybe who is available right now, we could probably get him for a nice little deal. Just a backup DB. Eli Apple is on the market. He's young.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's 24, so he's still young. We can get him for a really good price. He was let go from the Saints. He couldn't reach an agreement with the Seahawks, I believe. But he had some physical issues, but that was I think a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we could definitely try to see if we can get him, and just to get some more depth at that position, because you never know, a guy like, and I hate to say it before the season happens, but a guy like Jimmy Smith, could go down because we all know he is injury prone, and we can bring, a good guy like an Eli Apple, like a plausible backup in for him. So I think that Eli Apple is probably somebody that would be my pick for a realistic free agent that we can pick up.
With you saying Apple, I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
We have, I think, 4 legit corners.
Remind me,
we have hold on, here we go give these names. We got Hump.
Right.
We got Tavon will be back healthy. Got Jimmy. And we got the one picked up from the Rams. Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
Those would be the 4 up front guys. Then you got Iman Marshall. I can't think of his hyphenated name from USC last year.
Yeah.
Then you got maybe Avery or somebody. Avery's a safety, I think. Avery and the Joker are safeties.
Yeah,
but that's 5 corners right there.
You're right. I mean, it's just for me, I don't know, which one of those guys, if a Jimmy Smith goes down, which one do you automatically plug into that role?
Tavon. I think we made Tavon the highest. If at the time, I think he was the highest paid slot corner.
And do you think that we could actually save some money from that? Maybe getting rid of one of those guys. I could see us moving away off one of those guys and then bring in a cheaper guy just to save a little bit of money in cap space.
That'll probably be next year because they gave Jimmy has a 1-year deal because he was a free agent. Tavon's deal is maybe 3 years, so I think he maybe have 2 left. And I don't think Marcus Peters has but 1 or 2 left. But we're gonna have to pay Marlon soon.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pay
Soon.
somebody, so I expect them to start saving some money somewhere.
So our run has to happen ASAP.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Ravens, man. Like our window is it's always a small window because of money. You know, you always got to pay multiple people, and before you know, we're gonna have to pay Humphrey, and then a couple years down the line, we're gonna have to pay Lamar Jackson, and then that sort of thing. So
that number's gonna be huge.
Oh man,
that number's gonna be huge, especially if he keeps getting better. If he keeps getting better, that number's gonna be. Well, I ain't gonna say it's gonna be astronomical because Mahomes' number is going to be astronomical. Mahomes' number is going to be astronomical. Lamar's probably going to fit right at the same number or just below. And the reason I say just below because Mahomes got a Super Bowl on his belt.
But you never know. If Lamar wins one, say this year or next year, he could be right in that conversation as well. And I think Mahomes and Lamar probably a year or two difference between getting
age or what?
So when Mahomes' rookie contract is up and Lamar's rookie contract is up.
1 year behind each other.
A year, okay, yeah. So you never know. I mean, because the cap space, it goes up every year pretty much. So we'll see. He might get the same amount of money as Patrick Mahomes if he can deliver on a Super Bowl, but we'll see.
Gotcha. So let me see where we at on that question. Oh, and my answer to the same question. Again, the question is, what realistic free agents out there can come in and help the Ravens? My answer to that is twofold. And somebody put, as soon as I asked the question, somebody put it in there first. One was AB. I can deal with AB.
Coach.
Hold on, let me just get my reason. Get my reason. I can deal with AB.
Okay.
Simply because I would make his contract like he get whatever the minimum is, and then just everything straight incentives. Everything straight incentives. Now, I'm not saying I want him here. I'm trying to answer the question as best way I can. AB is one of the guys that could come in, and because of all the things he's been through, his value for what you pay him would be crazy. And it won't be a lot of downside because you could cut him at any snap. If you even thought he was sliding left or right or anything jumped off, you could cut him at the snap. And then you just let it be known to him, like, look, if you do anything, you burp too loud, if you anything, you could. And so with the way, because he ain't making no money right now. His rap career sucks. But he could. I think he's no risk right now because he's at his lowest point probably ever in his life, and he needs income and to play football.
Okay.
Because I think if he don't play this year, he's gonna lose his rabbit mind.
My thing about Antonio Brown is that, like, I always have referred to him as he's a cancer to a locker room in a lot of different ways, and he showed it to us time in and time out. Starting with like that IG Instagram live he was doing or Facebook live he was doing in the Steelers locker room after when he wasn't supposed to be doing that, and his career just kind of went downhill from there when it comes to like his issues and concerns off the field. So I think bringing a guy like that into the Ravens locker room, it doesn't help, especially such a young nucleus of a team that we have. You don't want somebody who is older than everybody else coming in. He's already going to have that mentality like, look, I'm the oldest guy on this offense pretty much, besides Mark Ingram and maybe a few other players. But I'm the oldest guy here. You guys are going to be able to, look up to me to be able to come through for y'all. And he's not going to really buy in to the whole, team atmosphere that we have. I feel like he is a diva, as a lot of, star wide receivers have been. He is a diva. And I think he would, try to get into the minds of a Lamar Jackson or a Hollywood Brown, who is his younger cousin. So I feel like he probably feels like he also has influence over him. I think there's just a lot of variables. There's a lot of things that go into bringing somebody like that, such a strong personality, onto our team when we have such a young nucleus that is working so well together already. I don't think we need it.
And I agree with those points 100%. So the follow-up question to that is, had this been, let's just say this is, what's this, 2020? Yeah. Let's just say this is 2012.
Yeah.
What you think about him being in that locker room? Because you still got Ed, you still got Ray.
That's a little different, because you've got those big alpha dogs on there, like you said, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. You even had like a Bernard Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
You had Anquan Bolden, just veteran guys.
That's almost a curse word around here.
Oh yeah. I know. But you have those guys. You had those guys that were just like they didn't take shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that somebody like, if we had people like that still on our roster, then it'll be a little bit more feasible for us to pick up somebody like AB. But since we don't, and we're developing a young nucleus, I don't want anything that's going to come and damage that.
That's understandable. So, what do you think about? Because basically, the nucleus of the offense, he's around them every day. So, what do you think about that?
Well,
you know, they're not in a football locker room right now. He's pretty much around AB and Lamar almost daily.
Who, Hollywood?
I mean, yeah, Hollywood. He's all pretty much around Hollywood and Lamar almost daily, working out.
I mean, is it daily? Is that a fact? I thought it was just that one time.
No, they all in South Florida getting after it.
South Florida. Okay. I mean, yeah, they may be working out together and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, the people who sign Lamar and Hollywood's paychecks are the people who are going to govern whether or not AB comes onto the team. So no matter how much they become friends, how much they practice together and stuff like that, if they feel the same way that I feel, they will not sign AB.
And probably the biggest guy that would nix that is Bishotti because of what happened with how quickly he handled the Ray Lewis situation.
Yeah,
he would probably be the guy they would have to sell, and he, with him being an owner and not wanting that negative press, he probably would. And we probably just talking because he probably wouldn't go for it anyway.
Right? Yeah, I don't think that would happen anyway.
The second guy I had is Clay Matthews. Again, we didn't draft edge.
Yeah,
and that would kind of fit Clay what he does. I don't even think Clay would command the whole $10 million that we have.
Probably not, honestly. I mean, a chance to play on a Super Bowl contending team, in his later years of play, he's a veteran. He can come in there, be a leader in the locker room for guys, and still get after the quarterback. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to Clay Matthews at all.
Yeah, I think at this point in his career, he's a third down, get after it guy.
Yeah, the only thing about him is like penalties. I understand he's had some issues with penalties in the past.
Too, though. I meant to bring that up too. Fluker has too.
Yeah. So I mean, third down penalties hurt the most.
Right.
About to get off the field, defense about to get off the field, and there's a penalty. Those are bad. I don't want that. Hopefully he can settle down into our defense a little bit better, and that can be fixed.
Speaking of penalties and whatnot, this question just popped in my head. What is the hardest position in the NFL to play right now?
The hardest position to play? Wow. I would honestly have to say DB or quarterback, one of those.
I would say DB. Do you have a reasoning why?
DB, just because of the evolution of quarterbacks, for one, evolution of all players around the field. Like, you've got different type of archetypes on wide receiver who are, you got short, speedy guys like Tyreek Hill. You've got big, tall, go up and get it like DeAndre Hopkins kind of guys. And then you have guys like Patrick Mahomes that can fit the ball to wherever they need to fit it to on the field. Guys like Lamar Jackson who can run the ball to whatever point they need it on the field. So as a DB, you have to be the fastest one on your defense, and you have to be, I don't know, the saying goes, your DBs have to be more talented than wide receivers.
At a certain extent, yeah. And the reason I think it's DB was because, first of all, they changed the rules to get more scoring.
Yeah.
They made, to me, like an offensive guy can manipulate a DB into a penalty. The ball can be almost not catchable, but if it's in the area, you can not flop, so to speak, but you can throw your body at a certain point to where to make the referee have to call a penalty.
Yeah.
Playing DB is so technical because you can't really jam like you used to.
Nope.
If you grab, and because they still grab, if you grab, it better be slight. If you grab somebody, you can't turn shoulders, you can't impede their progress in no kind of way. So it's to be a DB, your ankles have to be basically made out of adamantium.
Yeah.
Because you got to deal with, like you said, the different types of receivers.
Right.
Not to mention, like, it's a lot of people, and I'm probably gonna be one of those people this year. When we on our running plays, we're not blocking cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Cornerbacks really the last people that don't want to tackle. So I put it in my little scheme for this year. We ain't blocking no cornerbacks. Outside receivers, you go find your safety block. Let them cornerbacks make tackles. And if we lose our cornerbacks making tackles,
that's on us.
So be it.
Yeah.
So be it. So we about to stop blocking cornerbacks. But I think it's the hardest position to play because the rules have changed against them. And it's like playing defense in the NBA. It's changed. And I know, talking about it with the because of the Jordan documentary that's coming out, on Sundays. It's tough to like those bad boy teams. You almost can play defense like that in NFL, almost. But as viewership went up, more money got in both sports. They start changing the rules to benefit high-scoring games. Because you don't want to go to basketball. You've been watching the Jordan thing.
Yeah.
Have you been seeing some of them playoff scores? And I lived through that. That was my time. I was just out of high school, early in college around that time.
Yeah.
86 to 92. Who want to see a 7-game series like that? So they changed all them rules to benefit offense. So playing DB is extremely tough, and for Marlon to do it at the level he does,
right?
Peters to do it at that level. Safety is a little easier because you're, for the most part off the ball.
Yeah.
But if you play corner and you're an off ball corner, they can hit you to death. And if they make you miss, it's a struggle. So then you decide to come up. If they can run, if you ain't got good press technique, they can run past you.
Yeah.
So you got to be mentally strong, and you got to be physically superior, and you just got to have the shortest memory ever.
Yeah, you can't dwell on last plays.
If you're a corner, if you make one catch, they can change the game. Whereas the receiver can make 15 and still, it may be in limbo if they win.
Yeah.
So you just got to play the next play. But that just popped in my head at the time being. Let's go on to question number 3.
All right.
Besides the Ravens, who do you think had the best draft?
So taking a look at this question here, I was thinking, there's a lot of teams who I thought did a good job at drafting this season. Like the Broncos, I thought they had a good draft. I thought the Colts had a good draft as well. But in terms of relevancy to us in our division, I think that one team that we really need to put on notice is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I know they drafted Joe Burrow at 1. But not only that, they also they addressed inside linebacker as well in the 4th round. Mm-hmm. They also are getting back their first round pick from last year, and Jonah Williams, their tackle that was out all season last season. So, they're going to be getting beefed up in a lot of different areas. And since we do have to play this team twice a year, I don't think and the Bengals are never a cakewalk. It's not a cakewalk when we play the Bengals. And I think that like with New Hope at QB, because that's what it does when a poverty-stricken franchise gets like a new quarterback, a shiny young quarterback. We saw with Baker Mayfield, they started winning more games. It's infectious, So I think that the Bengals are definitely going to have a little bit of something to say. Of course, they're not going to come anywhere close to winning the AFC North this year. But I feel like they do definitely, make some noise, steal a couple games from maybe even us, the Steelers and the Browns. So I definitely think the Bengals had a really good draft.
And I think they get AJ Green back too. I don't know. Did you mention AJ?
No, I didn't, but they do get AJ Green back.
And we haven't got AJ Green in 5 years.
Yeah.
Only year we got him was last year because he didn't play.
And you know what they call him?
What they call him?
The Raven Killer.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I don't want to think about it. My answer to that question, I think I wanted to go Broncos because they got my guy Cushenberry and they got Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it's the Cowboys. Because just looking at them offensively, Dak was one of the top passers in the league already. And they had Amari Cooper, who's an amazing route runner when he's locked in. Mm-hmm. Gallup is a good number 2 guy. Gallup's a athletic freak. Mm-hmm. Not the best technical receiver, but athletic freak. Then you add CeeDee Lamb to that, who I think is one of 2 or 3 guys at the receiver position that's going to have an immediate impact because of their skill set. CeeDee Lamb's not going to outrun nobody. He's just going to run some good routes, and if you give him the ball and you don't tackle him immediately, you may not tackle him because he's that slippery as far as people making him miss and whatnot. and then they got Galmore to help on the defensive line. They already had their 2 young linebackers are during headhunters, and they got a DB. Now that may be still their weakness because it was already a weakness, and they lost their best corner. But I think they got Fulton too. I know they got a good DB. I think it's Fulton, and they got that. That was a first round guy, and they got him second, if not third. I think second round.
Yeah. I think Cowboys for me, I think that they had a good draft. I just don't think that they had a great draft. And the reason I say that is because the Cowboys, they made the sexy pick, with the pick number 17, getting CeeDee Lamb where he was. He happened to fall down to them, and you knew Jerry Jones was not going to pass up on that.
Right.
But my only thing with that is that they didn't really address the absolute positions of need. They just kind of shot and reached for best player available. They already, like you said, to your point, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, they have Blake Jarwin who's developing, those sort of guys who are going to be able to support your offense and, your receiving core. You already have a Dak Prescott and you have Ezekiel Elliott, but let me tell you who you don't have anymore. You don't have your Travis Frederick. You don't have your Pro Bowl center anymore because he retired.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't address that in the draft. So you address wide receiver and kind of stacking up, basically putting more pressure on Dak Prescott to, be able to evenly distribute, getting Zeke the ball, getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup, and running that offense. I feel like they drafted to bring more pressure and attention on themselves, not necessarily to develop their team in the direction that they really need to go.
That makes sense. I did forget about Frederick retiring. I did forget about that.
Yeah.
And their O-line amazingly 2 to 3 years ago, their O-line was considered the best in the league.
Yeah, it was. $1 million line.
It's crazy how it has dropped off so far. I think Andrew says they got I say badass for center, but I know it's Diaz or something like that. But he's not Travis, like you said, he's not Travis Frederick. Frederick was a dog down there in the middle. Frederick was a dog down there in the middle. So it was addressed, but it probably is.
We'll see to what extent.
Exactly. There you go. And what about your worst pick, your worst draft? Other than because we had a good draft, so worst ain't even
great draft. Arguably the best draft in the league. But I think that I would probably have to go with the Packers as being the worst draft, and mainly because they try to completely shake the room, getting a guy like Jordan Love instead of getting any receivers or anything like that. I feel like the Packers organization is kind of being petty to Aaron Rodgers the way that they feel like Aaron Rodgers has been petty to them.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's very wild because they got a young head coach. He comes in. Aaron Rodgers has a Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, and that's really it for the most part. And I feel like they're kind of looking at Aaron Rodgers at this point and saying, Russell Wilson doesn't have anybody else other than DK Metcalf, or he used to have like a Doug Baldwin. Carson Wentz basically gets to the playoffs every chance he gets with next to nothing. So they're not really going to be trying to get Aaron Rodgers any help, and I feel like that's a problem. And trying to send him a message, and this is not the way to do it, though. You've got a guy in Jordan Love who's going to take a couple years to start anyway, so why not get Aaron some help? You were just in the NFC Championship game, for crying out loud. Right. You have a chance to win a title, so build pieces around that. Don't build for the future just yet. I don't like it.
I agree with you 100%, man. The fact that they picked Jordan Love, and no shade on Jordan Love,
right?
If they get a receiver to help alleviate some of the pressure from Devontae, because Devontae is great now.
Yeah,
Devontae is great, and Rodgers is great, but when you can double him and just use your other DBs to cover the other guys, that takes away Aaron Rodgers' biggest asset.
Yeah,
and the guy he probably trusts the most, because the quarterback not throwing the ball to people they don't trust. I don't care how great you can get open and run routes. If they don't trust you, they're not throwing you the ball. Which is what I think probably the problem was with Boykin when he was in the game. But for them to draft that, to me, that was almost a slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't seen him like, welcome to the Packers, or hey, can't wait to get to you. Ain't seen Aaron do none of that.
No.
None of that. Aaron Rodgers may turn into Joe Flacco here soon. And I don't mean by his skill level, his attitude toward the younger player.
Yeah, and just towards the game period,
That's crazy. I think we got one question left. No, we got two left.
All right.
Well, what's your favorite Ravens draft pick and your least favorite? So let's start with your favorite. Who's your favorite Ravens draft pick?
All right. So my favorite Ravens draft pick is somebody that is, I don't think it's anybody else's favorite Ravens draft pick, but I really, really, really did like our draft pickup of Malik Harrison. I really like his potential as kind of like that. And I explained this the other day on Joe Nubo's podcast. He's like the Thunder, to maybe like a Patrick Queen's Lightning in like our linebacking core. So you've got like a guy like side to side of the field, and a Patrick Queen who's, that just electric athlete getting side to side on the field. And then you've also got a Malik Harrison who's just a big thumper at the linebacker position, somebody who's going to instill that fear and, running backs and quarterbacks, somebody that you're going to have to look up and look for his numbers every time the ball is about to get snapped, just to make sure you know where he is at on the field. You want somebody like that on your defense. And we used to have a guy like that in a Ray Lewis and like a Terrell Suggs, somebody like that the defense had to, not the defense, but the offense had to prepare for. So I definitely think that Malik Harrison followed by J.K. Dobbins be my favorite one.
All right. We got a new member to the team tonight. Everybody knows it. Team Keep It Clean. So I think he's the Dark Knight right now at this moment. What up, Ian Raven?
What's going on, Coach? What's up, Sutton? How y'all doing, man?
What's going on?
We good.
Chilling.
So
I'm going to y'all can't see me. I'm on a roll right now, man. And it's black outside, man.
I feel you. Your words are what's important. So I'm basically going to just jump you in where we at as far as the questions. All right.
Oh yeah. I've been listening, man.
So the question we're on now is, what was your favorite Ravens draft pick and your least favorite?
Favorite Ravens draft pick was Malik Harrison, because he brings something to the Ravens that they ain't had in a long time, and that's somebody that creates that fear when you're coming across the middle. We've had different linebackers come in. We've had different linebackers that we drafted, all the way from like Josh Bynes and Peanut last year. A couple of years ago, we had C.J. Mosley, Darryl Smith, L.J. Ford, who I love, but he's not that hitter like that. And we can go back and so on and so forth. But ever since Ray Lewis, we ain't really had that guy like that people fear coming across the middle for. We ain't really had nobody that hits like that. So with Malik Harrison, that was my favorite draft pick because he brings a different element to the Ravens that they've been lacking for a long time now. My least favorite draft pick, that's a tough one. Least favorite. Least favorite.
Sutton, did you give your least favorite?
My least favorite would probably have to have been either James Prochet or Ben Bredesen. I like Prochet, but I feel like we probably could have got a different type of wide receiver at his pick. Maybe somebody a little bit taller, somebody a little bit with a bigger catch radius. I would have preferred. And then Bredesen also, another like interior guy. I like the depth as well, but I could have definitely seen us going in a different direction with that one too.
What about your least favorite, Ian Raven?
That's a tough one. I'm really trying to think, man.
Oh, I'll go while you think. My favorite pick was J.K. Dobbins. And initially, if you watch the stream with Sonny and all of us, I was devastated that we took a running back. I really was. But think about the potential. In my mind, I see us running some kind of dive option or zone read with Dobbins and Lamar. And either one of those guys could take it and go.
Yeah.
Take it and go. And if you asked me that question a week ago, it would have obviously been Queen. But Dobbins is my favorite. My least favorite is Washington.
Broderick.
And because I don't really, and I haven't done film on him, so I don't really know what he's going to bring to the table.
Okay.
Give me a minute.
Okay. You good.
No, that makes sense. I mean, Broderick Washington, D tackle is another one of those positions that I feel like we do have a good amount of depth at right now. We could develop our options a little bit more there, but I definitely think we could have went in a different direction as well. But my overall thing is that like with EDC, Eric DeCosta, I trust him to the fullest. I think that most of our draft picks will probably end up panning out, even if we end up don't utilizing a guy like a Broderick Washington or maybe a Ben Bredesen or whoever else on our team. We can always just kind of get rid of him for cheap or put it on the practice squad, let those guys develop. So, I don't really have I don't have a huge problem with anybody that we picked up. But if I had to pick my least favorite, those would be my guys.
And I do want to kind of rebuttal your Prochet thing.
Yeah.
I think the reason Prochet fit in there is because everybody has those 7 drops in their mind from the playoff game.
Right.
And I know I still do. I know Ian Ravens talked about it a bunch of times. I know other people talk about all those drops in that playoff game. They were definitely part of the reason we lost that game. Between Duvernay and Prochet, them guys may have had 12, 15 drops their entire I know Prochet his entire 4 years, but maybe Duvernay too. They don't drop the ball. And granted, a lot of Duvernay catches are screens and little short, quick stuff.
Yeah.
Prochet catches down the field. And I think he played, to me, from watching the games I watched of Prochet, I watched the 2 whole games.
Yeah.
He makes big boy catches in that small frame. He makes those catches where he goes up over people and snatch the ball. At that height, I don't really know how he does it because I don't think he have a great vertical or anything like that. But his drop percentage means more to me than Devin's. And I said this earlier because Prochet makes catches down the field.
Yeah, I mean, even if he does make, those, like you said, those big boy catches down the field, do you think that he'll be able to do that at the next level, though, in the NFL against guys who are bigger, stronger, and faster?
I don't know. I don't know. That's why it's important that Boyd can bring his butt to the party this year.
Yeah.
It's extremely important that Boyd can bring his butt to the party this year.
Absolutely.
He got to, because we need a red zone guy that even if Boykins only plays from the 20 in, we need a guy that we can snap, throw a jump ball. Because that's going to help everybody else out.
Yeah.
But then you put those smaller guys in those situations, they're just going to press them up and play man on man. And then, we basically hitting our head up against a brick wall.
Right.
So we either somebody got to come in and be our big receiver, or we just got to stick Andrews out there, which could be an option.
Yeah, I think Andrews, they probably will try to put him out there as like that big body framed receiver a lot of the time this year. I can see that happening.
They use him like Minnesota uses
Rudolph.
Rudolph, yes.
Yeah.
Like, because I know he made a big jump ball catch against the Saints to kind of put them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you use Andrews like that.
Yep.
But let's see. Let's go on to this fifth question. And this is one I'm really excited to see not only you guys answer, but the answer in the chat box too. Who's going to be the backup QB?
Oh man, backup quarterback in town. I think that that's a very good question.
That's a tough one, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and just say my little spiel about it real quick. I think that the backup quarterback this year, like going forward as of right now, is going to be RG3. I feel like sometime in the future we will end up cutting him, and then we'll probably ascend. I like my guy Trace McSorley, but I feel like they're going to try to develop Tyler Huntley. They're going to have them battle it out in practice, basically, and they're going to be looking at Tyler Huntley and Trace McSorley over the next couple of months in practice to see who will be that guy next up after him. And I know a lot of people in the chat are saying RG3. Some people are saying Huntley. And somebody said, Bruno says, I'd rather want Huntley. I would probably rather take Huntley as well. He just looks more a little bit more poised for the NFL quarterback position than Trace McSorley does. I watched him play live last year in the preseason. But yeah, I would probably say RG3 for this year. If not, maybe Huntley.
Okay.
I would say RG3's backup would actually be the backup quarterback for Lamar this year. That being Trace McSorley. RG3, I don't see him being a Raven this year. I wouldn't mind if he stayed. I would actually love if he stayed and almost preferred if he stayed. But I think the Ravens actually rolled the dice with Trace McSorley since they had him for a year last year. I don't think they would have rolled the dice with him last year being his rookie year, his rookie season. So if something was to happen with Lamar Jackson and Trace had to come in last year, it could be very overwhelming for him. But now with Trace McSorley having had a year under his belt, no, he doesn't have any NFL game experience like that, but he still got that year under his belt. I think that'll serve him well. And I know a lot of people are super high on Tyler Huntley. I'm super high on him since he's from down here. Y'all know my bias toward anybody from South Florida. But with Tyler Huntley, I don't see the most I see him for is probably the practice squad, and that's not any offense to his skill set, not any offense to how good he is, anything like that, or no knock on his potential at all. But I don't think the Ravens would trust an undrafted rookie free agent quarterback to be the backup for Lamar Jackson. Because initially when you see a Tyler Huntley, you think, oh, he could be the backup for the Ravens or for Lamar Jackson. It could be cool or whatever. You could be like, oh yeah, he can run a read option, and he can run RPOs and all that stuff. He got a good arm, which he really does. He got all that stuff, which is fine. But when you say it out loud, the Ravens backup QB would be an undrafted rookie free agent. It don't fly, man. And with Eric DeCosta, I don't see him doing that. The most I see him for would be the practice squad. Right. But so that's why I think they would if it ain't RG3, I think they would roll with Trace McSorley, man.
Yeah, and my answer to that question, and I initially wanted to be on the Tyler Huntley train. I did, but I think it's going to be RG3, and I think Huntley's going to beat McSorley out for the practice squad though.
Ooh.
I do. I think Huntley's going to beat McSorley out for the practice squad, and the reason being because, and I know McSorley's an athletic guy, but you can call the same plays for RG3 and Huntley as you call for Lamar. Now you probably won't get the same result as like explosive wise, especially if it's a run play, but you can call that same set of plays and keep the continuity to your offense with Lamar, RG3, Huntley. Whereas I think with Trace, you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to finesse some stuff for him. One, because he's a shorter guy, and mainly because he's a shorter guy.
That's true. That's true.
I just don't think he. I think you got to tailor your offense to McSorley, and you got to do it to backups anyway. But you can still run the same type plays with the other guys based off their skill set and as close to Lamar as they are. Now, are they as explosive as Lamar? No. Are you gonna get the same results? Tyler Huntley, RG3 may get you a 6-yard gain. Lamar may get you a 45-yard gain. But you still can run your offense and move chains with those, and you still making do it with McSorley. I personally think Huntley and RG3 just gonna fit that backup role and that practice squad. Gonna feel that practice squad.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one to watch, man. Because especially with all those rumors that have been floating around about the Ravens listening to offense for RG3. But obviously ain't nothing happened with that since he's still with the team now. So where there's smoke, there's fire, man. So he might be on his way up on out of there, man.
And if he does, that's obvious. If that happens, I'm totally in the boat with you. Like probably earlier today I would have said Huntley, but when you said, like when it came out your mouth, the Ravens backup QB is an undrafted free agent, that just hearing that actually changed my mind. Like right then. Because I just it's crazy that something would happen. You go from Lamar to Hunt.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this though, just really quick. Do you think that us picking up undrafted free agent Tyler Huntley means like automatically we're definitely getting rid of RG3?
No.
I think it's insurance.
Right, and you need camp arms. You don't want the main guys throwing in camp and stuff when there is a camp. Yeah. You don't want it to be your starter and your backup, and even the backup's backup, and that be it. Right. You want to have depth at the QB position because they do this every year. Like last year, they brought in Joe Callahan.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody knew he wasn't gonna make the roster. Well, now with Tyler Huntley, it's been a little different because everybody been like, maybe this guy just might do it. But you gotta have camp arms. You gotta have I guess depth. You gotta have camp depth at the QB position. Really at all positions because you got 90 men on the roster.
Right.
And I mean, I think they had like 72. They the most they got right now is 75. So they got 15 spots left, at least. But I think they may be in between 72 and 75 people right now. But you got to have depth. That's why I also think, I know this kind of off subject, but I also think they're going to be bringing in a veteran tight end too. Because right now it's just Andrews and Boyle, and then Eli Wolf and Jacob Breland. Oh, and Scarf. And Charles Scarf was on practice squad last year.
Yeah.
So that number 3 tight end position is wide open, man.
Right.
It's wide open.
So with you saying that, I'm gonna throw a question out that me and Sudden Death answered earlier. It says, what was it? What realistic free agents out there that can come in and help the Ravens?
I was having fun listening to y'all answer that question when y'all got on the AB topic. Because I know a lot of people don't like it for obvious reasons, which I understand, but he would be one of them, of course. And I agree with what you said. Incentive-based contract, just in case he start any nonsense, out quick. Right. And I know something that Sudden Death was saying earlier too was that with the young nucleus that the Ravens got right now, you don't want to mess with that, which I completely understand. But this same Ravens team, and I ain't trying to bring up like bad stuff or whatever, but this same Ravens team, they dealt with Ray Lewis. And you know everything that happened with that. Mm-hmm. They dealt with Terrell Suggs. His stuff didn't get put on Front Street, but if you look up Terrell Suggs, he definitely ain't team keep it clean.
Right.
They dealt with Ray Rice. Ray Rice stuff got put on Front Street. They dealt with Chris McAllister. They dealt with Jamal Lewis. So they've dealt with people, and they even tried to bring in Dez Bryant a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. So they've dealt with all these different personalities and whatnot, and people who have got into some trouble and made some big-time mistakes, but they still dealt with it, and they've came out successful from it. Now, obviously, you don't want that on your franchise, but except if the player is that good, because with football, it's not a moral business. It's not a business. It's not a business where it's like, oh man, he did this. You know what? We can't have him, because if a player is good enough, they're gonna excuse him.
You're right. It's results-based business.
Yeah, but with AB, he would be one of those guys, man. And I also agree with the Clay Matthews, and one reason I agree, like you said, they didn't draft any edge guys. Mm-hmm. But with Clay Matthews, every single day, just like Jadeveon Clowney, even though we only got about like 11 million cap space right now, so Jadeveon Clowney probably out of the question. But with those guys, every single day that they're out there on the open market, their price drops. Yes. It drops and drops. Their value drops, their price drops, and their price did a lot of dropping after the draft.
Exactly.
Guys like Clay Matthews out there, and I would have never thought that at this point in the season, regardless of everything that's going on or not with the whole pandemic thing, if you would have told me at this point of the season that Jadeveon Clowney would still be a free agent, I would have said, I don't make bets, but if I made bets, I would bet everything on that he wouldn't be. That he would have been got signed a long time ago. But
the fact that he's already came off that 20 mil, that says a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, because it's rough out there, obviously. and I don't knock him for not settling, because I'm sure some people might have offered him some little smaller deals or whatever. Who knows? But I don't knock him for not settling, because I believe, like, hey, you think you're worth this much? Do your thing. Go try to get it. But with Clay Matthews, he's somebody, and he admitted he made a mistake, because last year he said, oh yeah, he turned down the Ravens because he wanted to go to a Super Bowl team, and he chose the Rams, and that wasn't pretty, man.
Isn't he from the LA area too?
Yeah. That played a part too, with him being from the West Coast. But excuse me. That Popeye's hitting them. But
I love it.
He would be a good fit. I think he'll be a good fit. Coming like y'all talking about earlier. Come in on third down. And I know Clay, you mentioned earlier. I mean, my fault. Sudden Death. I accidentally called you Clay. We talking about Clay Matthews. I know you mentioned earlier that Clay Matthews, he struggled with the penalties.
Right.
Now I remember his last. I don't know if he did it recently with the Rams, but I do remember his last season with the Packers. He struggled with penalties bad, and it was the roughing the passer, those late hit penalties. But that was when they were over enforcing those penalties. Right. And when you watch the replays of when he would get those calls called on him, it was nasty, man. Like they would be terrible, terrible, terrible calls, man. And even though they do over enforce it sometimes still to this day, they have lowered the boom with that. They have taken a little of the heat off with those calls. Right. So Clay Matthews could be somebody that could come in, veteran guy, come in and still help out. He can still help out. So yeah, I would agree with those two as being guys that free agents that could come in and help out the Ravens like that and make them. I think on offense, AB could make us a lot better, because automatically he would be the best receiver on the team, straight up. And Clay Matthews, he can make us a little bit better, but more so with AB,
Mhm.
And another thing with him too. My fault. I'm going off on a tangent, but y'all know how it gets.
Very good.
But with AB, I know, Coach, you talked about him possibly influence, and him knowing that he may have that influence over Hollywood, being his family.
Mm-hmm.
My thing with that, if he ain't had no impact on Hollywood by now, he ain't gonna have one.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Sutton. They ran each other every day now.
Yeah, they've been family ever since Hollywood was born. Since they cousins, and AB is obviously older. So ever since Hollywood was born, they've been cousins. So if Hollywood's still been doing his thing, still been on the straight and narrow or whatever, then if he'll be fine. That I wouldn't worry about that at all. And like you said, if he messed up, okay, bye, thank you, but no thanks. Thanks for your services. We appreciate you, but you out. But he would make the team that much better, and he would give us a legitimate threat. And it ain't no shot at Duvernay or Prochet, and they obviously rookies, but he would give us a legitimate threat immediately. Not a guy that we hope takes a leap, which we hoping for with Miles Boykin. I really like Miles Boykin, and I hope he does take that jump. Willie Snead is cool. He's from South Florida too, so he got that going for him. But he's not that threat like that.
Right.
He can catch, except in playoff games, but he can catch. And he brings that good vibe and that good energy to the team.
He's a good teammate. He's a great teammate.
A great teammate. You need that. You need that support. You need people rocking with you and all that. But AB would bring something different. He will bring a legitimate wide receiver where it's like, hey, we got to watch for AB. Watch this dude on every single play.
Top 5 receivers in the league.
Yeah. And of course his numbers will go down. That's something else that a lot of people, that's one of their concerns about his numbers possibly going down. So him possibly acting out and showing out because his numbers his numbers will go down. But if he signed with the Ravens, he would know that he's not going to get no 100 catches in the season. He would know that going into the situation. So that expectation of getting all these catches, it wouldn't be there. So that's out the window already.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Ravens, he would be in a consistently winning environment.
Right.
And that's something that I know we talked about before too, just a possibility, obviously nothing serious, but the possibility of one Odell Beckham Jr. if he were to go to the Ravens 2 years ago before he got traded to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people were saying the same thing about him. Oh man, well, Odell Beckham Jr., he wouldn't have all the catches that he wanted to, so his numbers would go down, so he would get upset. If you're in a winning environment, if you're in a winning team, a winning culture, that can change so much about so many people.
Winning cures a bunch of ills.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Winning cures a bunch of ills, and it masks a bunch of cracks too.
Right. So that winning environment, that winning culture, it can change somebody's attitude on everything. Because like even with Odell Beckham Jr., he gets a lot of flack for a lot of stuff, but he's never been in a consistently winning culture or winning environment or winning team. He's been with the Giants and the Browns. Ever since he was on the Giants, they went in the playoffs, I think, twice.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely once for sure, maybe twice, but they weren't a consistently winning culture.
Right.
With the Browns, they ain't been in the playoffs in, I don't even remember, I think it's been over 20 years, but they have not been a winning culture. So with Odell Beckham Jr., when he shows out, if he gets upset, people go, oh man, look at that guy, he's such a diva. But put Odell in a winning culture and watch how he goes off, man. But
watch how better your offense goes.
Yeah, that too, man.
He gonna command doubles.
Go ahead.
I just say he gonna command doubles. Go ahead, you good?
Yeah. So I feel the same way about AB. Low risk, potential high reward. Mm-hmm. And again, if he ends up being on the risk side and he starts messing up, if he acts up, okay, no harm, no foul, you're going by.
To the left.
Yeah.
All your Ravens get in a box to the left. Hey, the last question, and I'll have you completely caught up with us. UDFAs. Which one do you think has a legit chance to make the team?
With this team being a super running team, I know you mentioned them earlier, it would be the Steiner brother nephew, man.
Mm-hmm.
The Rick Steiner, the Bronson Rick Steiner. And I think that because what he does at fullback, and like you said too, I agree, he could be used at the tight end position too. He is small, he is shorter, but they could throw in some little plays for him, and whatever, create create ways to get him in open space, because that dude got a little motor, man. He got a motor, man. And if what he does, he does everything fast. And I know that was in college, and that was against a lower level of competition even in college. So he of course got to prove it in the NFL. But that dude, he did everything fast.
Yes.
That dude, when he blocks somebody, he blocks them fast. When he gets the ball, he runs fast. When he catches the ball, the dude catches it. It's like he grabs it out of the air and just takes off, man. Like he's stealing it or something. The dude does everything fast. And even with him going up against smaller schools, it got to start somewhere.
Right.
Like it would be another thing if he went against smaller schools and he was bad. So
Right.
I ain't gonna knock him for going against smaller schools and being successful, but obviously it has to translate to the NFL level. So Rick Steiner, he would be one simply because of what the Ravens do. And I don't think that Patrick Ricard would be in fear of his job. I don't think that it would put any certain pressure on him, because Patrick Ricard just signed a 2-year extension this past season. So he'll be here for at least another year, at least. You know, a lot of people don't end up playing out their contracts. Nobody hardly ever does. But so he'll be here. But I think that you could use him in different roles. He could be like a mix of Patrick, from what he did in college, and of course if it translates. But he could be a mix of Patrick Ricard. He may not be able to block or be as powerful as Ricard, but he can still block. And then he could be a mix of that and Juice. Yeah. So he could end up being a little steal, man, if it translates. But yeah, if I had to pick one undrafted free agent, that would be the one.
Okay. Well, with that being said, that's all 5 questions I had for the guys. Sudden Death has a prior engagement he has to get to. In Ravens driving home, so we want you to make sure you focus on that. And I don't know if you can answer this quite yet, in Ravens. You still doing your thing tonight, so the guys can be on the lookout for that later on.
Yeah, I might be. I might be doing that. You know, what time I get home, should be home in about like 20 minutes, something like that. So
be on the lookout, or don't be on the lookout for a team Keep It Clean to pop off tonight. I appreciate Sudden Death for coming through. Sudden Death, give me your info again before you get out of here.
Yes, sir. You can. I'm Sudden Death. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Just type in Sudden Death. You can also find my clothing line at olerclothing.com. I'm actually wearing it right now. If you go on the website, you like some of the merch, you decide to, buy it. I appreciate you guys, but I'm just trying to motivate and inspire everybody. And thank you, Coach, again for having me on. And I can't wait to come on again.
No problem. Put it back in the chat box before you get out. All right.
Got you.
All right. Any Raven, I appreciate you for tuning in, especially on the road with your family and whatnot. I don't know if my guy in there with you. Tell him I said hello.
Go to say what's up to everybody, man.
Sup? That's my guy. Hey, and I appreciate you guys for coming through, man. And team Keep It Clean and Ravens flock. This is Coach Evans with Sip the Films, and I see you when I see you. Peace.
I appreciate you.
Peace.